How I really think about this in terms of hiring, there's two types of hires methods. You're either hiring inbound or it's outbound, right? It's kind of like sales altogether. So for inbounds for stuff like job postings, stuff you put like on Indeed or job boards. For outbound, you're reaching out to people and trying to poach them or trying to cold outreach people, right? So those are two different systems you have to follow. I'm going to run through both of them and how we do both of them. So Elon made a little graphic of me hiring A players. That's actually we're not really good at hiring A players. We just learned how to not hire F D
It wasn't me. It
C
was it was my AI. It was my AI. Hands up.
uh, or C players, right? We because it's easier to figure out who's bad than to figure out who's good. At least during like the inbound hiring process, right? So if you look at a resume, you could tell when someone's bad if they've been in a job for, let's say, 3 months, or they're job hopping, had four different jobs in a year, right? Stuff like that, we automatically it's more filtering. Like the inbound, you're filtering because you have interest, you don't really have to sell, and they're looking for a job, right? It becomes more of a leverage play. Okay, who has more leverage in the situation? Who gets to choose that? Who gets to choose? And we like to put ourselves in a position, at least for inbound, where we get to choose between many, right? Because it allows us to filter. It allows us to choose who we think aren't bad, right? And that saves a lot of time and saves a lot of money in the long term, right? And when you're doing inbound as well, you kind of have to really start thinking about your cost per hire, right? The cost per hire when it comes to recruiting costs, when it comes to training costs, when it comes to onboarding costs, right? Once you have those numbers down, then you can really crank it up and see, okay, this is how much it costs me to hire a person. Let's run that playbook, right? So what we like to do is we like to do high volume, uh, at least for entry level roles in our company when we're looking for like a new location, when we need to bring on like 20, 30 people in a short time, we go very high volume, right? So we look at least 200 candidates to hire like 3 or 4. And we put a budget in for recruiting because it's necessary. If you want to grow faster, it's either a supply and demand thing, right? If you have demand in your restaurants and you don't have enough people to supply that demand, that's going to be a constraint to growth, right? A lot of people focus on the marketing side, but they don't really focus on the recruiting side, and they don't have they're driving demand in terms of like ads, more marketing, but they don't have the operations to kind of fulfill on that demand, and they're wondering why they can't grow. Why they can't grow is because they don't have the right back end for the supply side to supply that demand, right? So it's a balancing act throughout. When you're growing, it's okay. You're not just worrying about, a lot of people just worry about the demand gen side. They forget about operations and the supply side, right? And for people to run the machine, to run your restaurant, you need a recruiting system, right? It needs to be replicable. It needs to be like a copy and paste, right? Because when you decide to scale to a new location and you don't have a system to recruit people, it's not going to scale. It doesn't matter if your food is the best food ever if you don't have people to make the food, right? So what we thought about is, okay, for us, we are trying to be as be wrong as little as possible when it comes to hiring, because being wrong costs money. Because going back to that recruiting cost, if it costs us like $300-400 to hire one person, and it costs us about like $2,000 to train someone, or how long ever it takes for them to be productive, uh, that's the cost, right? So spend a little more time rather than bringing on any random person, right? So we have two different funnels, right? So inbound is they want the job, right? We go high volume. We qualify very hard from the first minute, right? We qualify often. Even resumes, we throw out 50% of the resumes that we see, and then with those probably less now because we have an AI phone answering system where we don't have to waste time calling and filtering them out. We throw away like 40% now, and then do phone screens on the rest. And then down that funnel, after they do a phone screen, then we do like a virtual interview. And when you're building out the workflow for inbound, you want to throw in like little tasks that will make it a little hard for them. Let's say in your job posting, you want them to have attention to detail. What we do is, hey, before you join the call, we're going to message you. You have to respond, got it. And then we'll jump on the call. If not, we don't jump on the call, right? And a reason we could do this is we look at very, very high volume. So we can choose, right? Because in this situation for inbound, we are the prize here. Any questions? Someone had a question. Alvin?
Yeah, just shoot, Alvin.
Yeah, so we have, one on Indeed, we use an automated one, right? So instead of saying, do you want to hop on a call, we just put, what are your thoughts on this? But currently what we're putting on there after they apply, it sends an automatic message saying, if you can tell us why you would be the best fit for this position. And they have to respond. If they don't respond, we don't go forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's like one of a good filter as well. Okay. To kind of say, hey, are you actually interested? Are you a tire kicker, right? Because depending on your time and your manager's time, whoever's doing the interview, you don't want them to waste their time chasing after someone who's not a good candidate, because the cost of your team member's time, you have to take that into account as well, costs more than potential like $10 a week on Indeed, right? Okay. So you want to filter out as strongly as possible, right? For us, our workflow is we go on Indeed, our AI scrapes the resume, and if the resume doesn't meet a certain score for us, it goes into the trash. And the people who have a certain score, our AI kind of sends a message, and then it schedules a AI phone call. Okay. And then they screen there. And then after the screening, there's another grade. Okay, we grade them on specific categories, what we care about, right? Like pace, our culture, and what else did I have in here? Pace, culture, and just reliability. Those are three things we look for in terms of entry-level staff, right? And then we go down that process, right? Because if you have more people, it's easier to hire versus if you have a small pool of people. Let's say the probability of a good team member is like 5%, 5 out of 100. If you only have like 10 candidates, you're not going to get that 5. There's a less than 1% chance that you're going to hire a good person, and the rest of the 10, it's going to be very high, right? So we do high volume, and then we cut out the obvious bad ones. So that increases our chance of hiring a good person and decreases our chance of hiring a bad person.
Okay.
Right? Because the main thesis here is hiring a bad person costs you a lot more than not hiring a person at all.
Okay. I guess going along with, I don't know if you stop me if you're going to go through this later on, but in that hiring process, because, with Indeed, there's a budget, right? So is it better to set a lower budget for a longer time frame or a bigger budget on a shorter time frame for quality?
Yeah, so it depends on the speed. What we like to do, we set a big budget and close it out quick. Okay. Right? So we set a big budget and probably close it out within like 4 or 5 days because we have enough candidates.
Mhm.
Because if you spread it out through a long time, that pool gets spread out and interest kind of wanes as well. So you want to do it fast within a big pool so you can like kind of compare that pool together.
Great, thank you.
Hey, Wesley,
What's up?
can you just go over the AI sort of resume score process that you take?
Yeah, I think I have it in here somewhere. Yeah, I'll go through it once I get there.
Okay, no problem.
Cool. And the next for Outbound, they have more leverage because they're not actively seeking for a job. So they kind of have the upper hand, right? The volume here is more handpicked and higher level. For us, this is for like district managers and not even managers, like district managers we're hiring for is what we did. The first thing you have to do for people who are outbound, you kind of have to sell your company first, right? You can't qualify them and you can't filter them if they're not interested. It's not going to work, right? You have to create some intrigue and you have to pitch a little why your company is the company they should work for. And the biggest risk here is you don't want to interrogate people before they care. You have to give them a reason to care for them to want to join, right? So there's two different methods. Like this two funnels have to be worked differently, right? You can't implement the first funnel into the second funnel because people are gonna look at you like, I didn't even want a job. You reached out to me. Why are you being so rude? You know. So you kind of have to sell the dream initially for those people.
Quick question on the outbound, Wesley. Would you typically do outbound for like M1 hires, or would it be more higher level managers?
Yeah, I think you could potentially do it for M1. We did it for M2s only because, yeah, that's just what we did. And it's more fun, right? What we realize is you get to talk to higher level people and you kind of get to learn from them as well. And what we realize is if you hire a M2, M3 level, they will potentially bring their M1s from the previous position if they're good, right? Good people will bring good people.
Yeah. Because I figure like really good managers are probably have a job. They're not on the market looking for jobs.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to go deeper into the inbound and filter and volume, right? So how it kind of looks like right now is like we look at hundreds of applications. Only like dozens of them are worth like real screen, and then a handful sent to the manager, because manager doing interviews all the time is a waste of money. You only want to send them people who are qualified, right? Because you want to encompass the whole cost of recruiting one person. You don't just want to encompass the recruiting costs from like Indeed posting. You want to encompass the time spent, the opportunity cost of your manager. Could they have been doing something else rather than interviewing a person who shouldn't even have been interviewed in the first place? Like people who are waste of time, have no experience, have bad attitude, stuff like that, right? So and that's how you kind of work the funnel to hire one to great people, 1 to 2 great people. So for us, the process here is they apply, we look at the resume in the background, and there's a rubric that we cut from, and then they do a phone screen, and then we grade them on a different aspect. And for the in-person, it's just more of the managers. So all our calls are recorded on Fireflies, Otter, whatever it is, and then we pull all the transcripts and then grade it. We decided to do this because a lot of managers don't know how to hire well, right? So you want to create a system where you can control the hiring by not controlling the people, but controlling the system. So what we did is we purposely did a scoring system throughout the whole process, so it's more objective rather than subjective, right? Because if you're hiring a manager, or if you're scaling to 10, 20 locations, which we want to do, If we rely heavily on managers to make the right decisions, then we don't have much control of the process, right? If we create a system where, okay, hey, if they don't meet a score of at least a 6, you shouldn't even hire them. And if they do it, that means that's on them. Like, why would you even do that, right? You don't want to even give them that room.
How does the score work? How does the AI score?
Good
based off
question.
of what?
Yeah. So things, I don't think, give me one second. So we kind of adjust it over time. We kind of use the data of people we hire and the scores, and we kind of match the results, right? Because we track our operations very deeply in terms of our metrics, and people who do well, we kind of try to backtrack their transcripts in terms of their interviews, their resumes, to kind of try to triangulate what's a good candidate as well as we're doing it. So our grading system kind of updates as we go, right? So one of the things that we don't hire for is like if they've been we start everyone off at like I think a 10 score, and we do penalties if they get fired from like 2 jobs in the past year. It's automatically like they drop the score down to 1, right? Any type of criminal history, lying, that's automatically filter out. And less, like the next level is like more significant is, okay, they don't have kitchen experience, they don't have restaurant experience, they have job hopping, they blame management in the questions we ask, they have huge gaps in the resumes, they're looking for short term. That's when we start, okay, this is still a flag, but not automatically out. And then we have like amber flags. They never worked at a restaurant with high volume, right? They have, what's that called? Their idea of high volume is not in sync with your restaurant's high volume, right? So we ask, oh, how many orders do you get? What's the busiest the restaurant's been? And then we go into details like, okay, how many orders did you do in that hour? How many tables did you turn? How many? Then it gets a sense. Let's say if they say, oh, busy is I turned 10 tables in the hour. Maybe for your restaurant, that's not good, right? You turn 30 tables, then that person obviously doesn't understand the volume, and they're going to struggle, and you're going to have to train a little more, so that then they have a lower score in our system.
Are all these questions asked in the interview on the phone screen with the AI?
Yeah, so we look at the resume as well as phone screen from the AI, and then we filter it in, and manager digs deeper based off what wasn't asked and what was asked.
So is the score throughout the entire process? So the resume gets a score, only people past a certain score will actually go into the phone screen, and then so on and so forth?
Yep.
So what's that qualification from like resume to phone screen? What score do they have to have?
Yeah, and that's a good question, because that one depends. That one depends on the market and the pool of candidates you have, right? If our team needs to hire 10 people and the market is only producing people with an average score of 6, and we usually hire average score of 7, then we have to take the 6s, because we still have to fill in the gap. And that's what's nice about having a score, right? Because you're choosing the best available people. Let's say you go into New York City or a bigger city, the candidate pool, it's going to be higher quality. Then you get to hire like the 8s and 9s. So what we've focused on very heavily is creating an accurate, objective score of a candidate. So then the managers in different regions, different locations, and different cities would be able to hire the best people they could find. The biggest part is the best people you could find. Let's see. So this is kind of what we have. So we have a score here, and then our people kind of analyze it and send them in or pass them. This is like the phone side. Oh yeah.
Hi, Stephen. This is Emma from Happy Holdings. Thanks for taking the time today. This should be pretty straightforward,
hear
and
this?
I just want to learn a little more about your background, the kind of kitchen pace you've handled, how this role through application. When you get a chance, please give us a call back so we can.
So this one then go through. Yeah, but that's kind of like our process here, and what it kind of looks like in the back end. But it doesn't need to be that complex. I'm just bored most of the time, so I do stuff like this. But it's mainly okay. Let's figure out a rubric. As simple as okay, if they're not meeting this requirement, check. If they don't meet a certain score, just knock them out. Right? It's as simple as that. Right? We're just doing a little bit more bells and whistles. But the core thing is you want to filter out bad people quickly. That's as simple as that, right? It's the core of the thing, right? And how we think about it is we're investigating. In terms of interviewing, we're at least for inbound, we're not really trying to sell them. We're trying to investigate if they will fit into the role, if they're a good employee, and we dig deeper, right? It's not like a set like script we follow. Hey, ask 1, 2, 3, or 4. Like if they say something off base, like, oh, I left my job because I don't like management. Some interviewers just jump right to the next question. What didn't you like about management? Why didn't you like about management? You know, how long have you not liked management? Stuff like that, right? Then you ask deeper questions and they'll tell you more, right? Sometimes when we were initially doing it, I was initially doing the phone calls. When they said something on the phone, I spent like 10, 15 minutes on one topic, that one thing they brought up, and I just let them talk, right? We're not trying to talk much in these interviews. We're trying to investigate, and we ask questions to gather as much information as possible. Because the more information you have, the better decision you get to make, a better assessment you get to make on the potential of whether it's a good candidate for your company or not.
Hey Wesley, who does the questioning? Is that done by the M1s after the filtering has already taken place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we let the M1s ask the questions and do the questioning, but they don't really. They get to decide. We give them the illusion that they get to decide, but the scoring does a big part of it, because if they want to reject a person who a 7 score is good for us. If they want to reject a person who's an 8, we'll ask why. And if they don't have a good reasoning, they're going to hire them. If they want to hire someone who's like a 3 or 4, we'll ask why. And then we'll give them the reasons why it's bad, or the potential downsides of like churn, having a bad team member. And they usually, okay, no, they'll learn not to hire the 3 or 4s.
Do you have a system for monitoring the interviews to ensure that M1s are sort of giving an accurate score?
The M1s don't give a score for us. So based on the transcript, what they talk about, that's how it's scored.
Oh, so the M1 will do the questions, and then the score will be basically done by AI?
Yeah, the AI does the score. But we let them say, do they want to hire, they want to pass, or not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a specific software you use, or is that something you built, or like...
It's mainly in-house built for us.
Are there ones that you know of that exist like that?
I think Albie said his friend was trying to build one. You might.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah, might want to talk to him. Yeah. So yeah, and just to continue, we're just trying to get to the same standard throughout and figure out a system we can get consistent standards, so the results can be comparable, and it could be improved, right? And having an accurate scoring system of what good means in your company will allow you to have more clarity once you go to more locations, because you're not going to be doing all the hiring once you get there. Then the question is, how do you trust someone to uphold the standards of what makes your company good?
And in reality, you don't, right?
I don't. What?
Well, you said like, the M1s will do the questioning, but the
Mhm.
AI decides on the score. So you actually take the decision making away from the M1, which I think is brilliant. I think it's great. Would you agree with that?
It kind of takes it away. We give them the illusion of control, because if they don't make the choice, they're not going to buy into the hire. So we wanted to like steamroll them initially. Hey, this is the score. You're hiring them. But then there was not much buy-in. So we kind of had to integrate their opinion in there, but also take it with a grain of salt. If that makes sense.
For sure. Question though, are you using the same sort of process and software from the filtering stage?
In what sense?
Well, so prior to the interview, you're filtering. Is that AI that's filtering through the same method?
So each section, we really thought about how to score it based off our needs, what we care about, what aligns us, right? Because our scoring system will not work for, let's say, Masa. It will not work for Masa, right? Because we're quick service and the skill sets are different.
Right.
So we're trying to optimize the scoring system to fit our needs.
But who's filtering through resumes?
AI. So it goes to a rubric, it reads the resume, and based on the rubric, it'll score it.
Yep.
And with AI, it's easy to create a prompt now, right? It doesn't have to be a whole workflow like us. Just say, hey, this is what I care about. Create me a PDF or a markdown file of the scoring. And then you save that file, and then you upload it and say, hey, this is my scoring rubric. Here's the transcript. Score it.
So essentially, you score them twice.
We score them 3 times.
So
resume, phone interview, manager interview.
Wow. Okay.
So there's like a score for each of those 3 steps, and then like an overall score for the candidate, right?
And the next part, if any questions on inbound, I'll jump to outbound.
Let's say someone is not super tech savvy. I know that you have most of this stuff automated. You probably have the transcript be auto uploaded into the AI. You have like the skill.md file and everything, right? So what would you recommend to someone who maybe isn't as tech savvy to have a similar process, still have a score for every candidate, but maybe do a little bit more manual work, or have one of their team members do a little bit more manual work?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be that automated. We just like the two. Everyone's access to at least ChatGPT now, right? Kind of like what I just told Laurent. Have a scoring rubric. It doesn't have to be like some fancy. It could be a document file that you write up. You think of, hey, I like people who aren't assholes or don't say certain things, and then you put that into the scoring system, and then you just upload the PDF file to ChatGPT, and then upload a recording of the interview or upload a resume and say, hey, I don't want people who haven't worked in fine dining, or I don't want people who haven't worked in the restaurant space, or I only want people who've been managers or whatever, because we used to manual like each step, like we manually reviewed resumes before with humans. But then it was very, I would say, sporadic, depending on the person who was reviewing the resume, right? But if you're looking at 200 resumes, no one has, like, your time is more important, or your manager's time is more important than sitting down looking at 200 resumes. So it's just download the resumes and then upload all the files and then just rank the best ones. It takes away the mental energy from it, and it makes it more consistent as well.
So essentially, just say ChatGPT, this is what I'm looking for in a candidate. Take the 100 resumes, upload all of them, get a score for every resume, and then whenever we have a phone transcript from like the recording, like this Zoom call right here is going to have a transcript because we have Fathom in here, the note taker. Just download the transcript, also upload it into the AI for every call, and say, what's this score? Maybe keep like a Google Sheets.
Yeah.
That has all the scores.
You could just make your managers do it if you want like consistent hiring throughout, right? At least like crew members for the positions, because it's hard to teach. I won't say it's hard to teach taste. People have different tastes in different people, so you want to control that as much as possible based off your culture.
Question about the second stage, sort of after you filter through the resumes and you do the phone transcript. So the candidate would just get on the phone with AI and answer a couple of questions, and then who looks at that? Is it still AI or is it the manager?
The AI. We still have a recruiting team. They still look to check and look through people who are. They automatically don't look at the people who are bad.
Right.
But then the ones that are supposedly good, they still do like a second round check and say, hey, this is actually good. I'm not gonna wait. We can still send it to the manager.
Right. But the bad ones get filtered out by the AI.
Right.
Sorry, Wesley.
Yep.
Could you walk us through how you built the AI?
Yeah. So a lot of vibe coding. No. So how I built the AI. It's fairly easy now, I would say, to some extent, right? It's essentially what you say or what you want can be built if you understand the basic structure of it.
In Claude Code or?
Yeah, Claude Code works. Claude Code is pretty good now.
Got you. What can I ask? What tool specifically you use
For
to build out the AI?
yeah, so we use multiple. We use Claude. We use ChatGPT. We use Gemini. Depending on the grading, for the voice we use Claude Sonnet 4.6 because the latency of the AI voice is lower. What else? For the grading, we also use Claude, but for tonality, we have Gemini grading tonality of the call as well.
Okay. And the page you showed us before with the analysis of all your interviews, where's that from?
That's our own dashboard. We built that out.
Okay, and you built that out using all these different AI tools together?
Yep.
Cool, okay. And I could do the same if I just went into Claude, told it what I want, and then okay.
You could definitely do the same.
Put /goal and then tell it what you want. Let it run.
That's how it works.
I think you can pretty much do it now. Probably with the last update, probably like 3 weeks, you could do it now. But if you're not like looking to do that, you don't need to. It doesn't. I wouldn't say it doesn't save that much time. It just saves the manual work of uploading, downloading, downloading. It's doing the same thing, right? The tools are there to still do it. We just want to be a little more fancy with it.
Okay, so you wouldn't say it's necessary to really
to make a good hire. It's not necessary.
Right, but it's more effective for you. Like if you're going through 200 applicants, you don't have the time to manually download each resume. You'd rather just AI scan it in 2 seconds and then it'll pump out. This is a 5, this is a 6, 7, 8. You know, take the 8, 7s, pass it on to a filter. If they pass that, then they get to talk to the team and then
right. And the goal for us is like we really was trying to optimize the cost of hiring, right? We can use in-state people to look at the resume, or have managers look at resumes, and let's say that takes like a whole day. How much does that cost?
Yeah.
So okay, we outsourced it to a team from a different country, right, where the cost of labor isn't as high, so that reduced the costs. And then that team was getting overloaded because we added on like a lot of locations, and one person was doing the work of 2 locations, right? So okay, it's either we bring on another person or we develop the system. So we decided to develop a system, so we can keep the same size team at a higher scale, right? So to hire for probably 10 or 20 locations, the way we do it now, we're still able to maintain a recruiting team of probably less than 2 people.
Okay. And they know how to use the AI tool.
Right.
Then,
So I essentially gave them capability to edit it as well, so they can edit the tools based off their needs.
Got you. And then they'll just spend the whole day going through all the quality, the filtered applicants, and then that will get passed on to your managers.
Right.
Got you. Okay.
Wesley, quick question. Now that we're on the topic of AI.
Yep.
What would you recommend? Would you recommend for the business owner, these guys here sitting with us, to learn how to use AI to that capability themselves? Or would you recommend them to maybe hire like an AI operator and then just tell this AI operator what they're looking to accomplish?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe hire someone, depending on the cost, right? Some people cost a lot.
Yeah.
Wow, that's what we're looking at. Yeah, very good ones might cost a lot, or they might not cost a lot at all. But the most important part now, like with these new tools, is taste. Are the people who work inside the systems, right? You can hire an external person who doesn't understand restaurants, but they won't be able to create the same solutions, right? So the reason I decided to give like coding capabilities to my recruiting team was because they were the one using the dashboards. They were the one grading it, and they had inputs that I didn't know about, right? Because that's their workflow now. I wouldn't know how to edit their workflow to optimize for their efficiency, right? So for us, starting now, every single manager is going to get their own AI assistant agent that links it up to all our database, all our management systems, just to reduce the friction.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that if they hired like an AI operator, if it's a good cost, it's affordable, do you think that they should still understand the basics of how everything works, what an API call is?
Probably like a 4 or 5 out of 10. You should at least understand the basic language, and that'll be
Otherwise,
helpful.
you wouldn't be able to explain what you want, right?
Right, exactly. Or maybe you can say, oh, I want this, and they could do it, but understanding the limitations and understanding what's possible, you kind of have to understand a bit of the language.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if we bring on someone who hasn't been in the restaurant space, and you tell or whatever, you try to have them like turn chicken into steak or something, or whatever it is. Like if you don't know that's not possible, then that wouldn't be helpful. Like some things are possible with AI, but if you don't know like the basics, you might be like chasing the wrong, what's the saying, the wrong rabbit or whatever.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep. Cool. Next thing I'm gonna go through is cold outreach. So what we like to do is we like to sell first, and then we qualify hard. So It's the fact that they don't need you yet when you're cold outreaching, right? Either they're currently employed, they didn't even think about your company at all, or they're just taking a break or whatever it is, right? So in the first conversation I have with them, 70% of it, I am selling the story, selling the vision, where they're going to be in this company, right? So we're still like a small company, right? We only have like 6 locations. We sell them to the trajectory, right? Our goal is to add on this many locations. Obviously, you've been a district manager, whatever, at like 30 locations or 20 locations. We're not going to stay here forever. We're looking for someone to grow with, right? Sell them that idea. What's up?
Before we even get to the conversation, how do you even like find the people to be able to
Good question.
reach out to? You know?
Yeah, my recruiter goes on LinkedIn Recruiter and just filters out our needs, and then I think she reached out to like 400 candidates, just outreach message.
Mhm.
And again, sales funnel. Out of the 400, only a certain percentage will get on a call.
Mhm.
And then
And those 400 that she's reaching out to, there's also specific like criterias and scores that you're looking for.
that one we didn't create a score for because it was new, so we wanted to kind of figure out what's good.
Mhm.
No, she was good at like just understanding what we want, understanding what quality was. Obviously, the first batch we're still learning, and they weren't as good as the second batch because you have to get a feel of what type of candidate you want, and based off like the conversations initially, were those actually good resumes or were they bad resumes? We're hiring people from like regional managers who are a little too zoomed out, too strategic, and not what we're looking for, and people who were too much of a M1 manager where they're day to day, but they didn't know how to manage managers, and that's what we needed, or didn't know how to manage multiple P&Ls.
So this 400 outreach messages, and then that was for the regional manager that you recently hired.
District.
The district manager that you recently hired. And all of those interviews that you kind of came on to the Saturday calls and showed, were those all from the outreach process?
Yeah.
Or some of them came in inbound?
I think at least 90% of them were outreach.
Wow. So the hire came from outreach. Nice. So outbound can be very effective too.
Yeah, especially because it's a higher leverage, right? For a kitchen staff member, I'm not going to waste that much time on it because the leverage of that person, how much they manage in terms of like the P&L, how much they affected, is not worth it. But if a person's going to manage like 10, 20 million dollars, I'm going to invest the time. It's worth the investment.
Let's say Alex's situation, right? He's kind of looking for a manager right now to manage his location so he can focus on the new store, higher leverage things in the business. What would you recommend for him to spend a lot of time?
I would say initially, at least for manager, because it was helpful for me to talk to more people and understand what a good manager was versus what a good manager wasn't. The more you see, the more you realize some people are full of shit, and they're not that good, and some people are good. And it kind of realigns your expectation, not only for hiring, but for your team, your current team as well. Yeah. And the other 30%, you do some light qualifying, like what they're looking for, what their motivations are. I'm not really digging deep in the first conversation. I'm mostly selling. Script, how I usually go about it is like the first call is a discovery call. There's a discovery conversation. We're two party, like both of us are seeing if we're a good fit for each other. It's not just, okay, are we a good fit? Are you a good fit for me? But are we a good fit for you as well? Then I kind of throw this in there mid calls, like I kind of make them qualify, sell why they joined, why they decided to even take a call with us, based off the information we sent. I think my what's that called? My lead, we call her lead people partner. She sends out a video of an interview I did, and that kind of creates some framing as well in terms of positioning. Like, okay, he got interviewed, he's been on a podcast before or whatever, right? And that creates some positioning and some authority there.
Like get to know the founder.
Right, exactly. Kind of like a sales funnel. Like if you want to jump in, Elon, on how to make a sales funnel work, do it. But essentially what it is, you're not selling a product, but you're selling your company, which is the product itself, right?
Sure. Definitely a sales.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I asked some questions about what they initially do before the pitch, and then I tell them about the company. I kind of gauge their interest first. So the first selling part is the podcast, and Maria, her name is, does the selling, right? So I don't reach out personally because that creates a bad positioning. We have someone else reach out, kind of like a phone setter, or what do you call them, to kind of say, hey, this is it, watch this video or whatever, and then we go into it. And then I kind of close with a bit of scarcity, and it's true, right? We reach out to 400 people. I've had like 30 interviews. I'm gonna have interviews with them. You're not the last choice, right?
I mean, they're hopping on the call because they are exploring other options. Like if they absolutely love their company and they knew that they didn't want to leave, they wouldn't even be hopping on the call in the first place.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times when we reach out to them, they are talking to multiple people as well. And you have to understand that you're not the only one that they're talking to. That's why the first part you kind of have to sell hard, sell a bit of your company, whether they're good or not. If they're not good, you can not hop on the second call. But I like to generally, even if they're not great, I like to kind of sell the vision of the company, and do that. It's good practice.
Yeah.
And then I tell them a bit about my story. It's like not from the commercial restaurant space. For us, there's a market shift, why we're doing delivery only, what we've been doing the first few years, and now we're hockey sticking growth, and why it's the right time to join. For us, like, okay, how we're doing it differently and why we have an advantage. It's kind of like just selling your product, essentially. Whatever your restaurant is. Let's say for Alex, you said your dad was like interviewed with Uber Eats, and you're the best Asian restaurant or best restaurant in Uber Eats or whatever, and we won this many awards, right? Stuff like that. Yeah, and all this is kind of just selling and negotiating. So like we use price frame. Yeah, we sell the dream, but it's like, okay, it's a mutual thing. Where it's like, it's fine if you walk, all right? Because you do want to create some prize. Where, and the reality is, you can't create a prize frame or a lack of scarcity on your end if you don't have enough candidates. The reason why we reached out to 400 people is because we don't want to be put in a position to take a person just because that's the only person. And that's the common theme of recruiting, inbound or outbound. We are structurally making ourselves the person who chooses. And this allows us to choose the best people. There's one guy that was very good that we didn't go with because he was dragging his feet. And he was probably the best candidate we interviewed. He was dragging his feet. And we're like, okay, fine, we'll go on to the next one. And then like 2 days later, it's like, hey, I want to meet in person. was like, too late, brother. You know, and if you have enough candidates, it doesn't really matter, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's actually what I wanted to ask next. It's like, how many interviews do you have to do for you to understand, okay, now is enough. Now I can make a decision, right? You did 5 interviews and you think that 1 out of 5 is kind of like in Albie's situation, he's looking for another location right now. And then a lot of conversations is like, what's the score? And there's some sense of urgency of wanting to open up the next one. Just like there's a sense of urgency of like, hey, I need to hire a manager. So how many do you have to do for you to be like, okay, I've done enough?
I would say it's a balance. It really depends on your situation. If the speed, you obviously need some speed, right? You can't take 2 months in this whole process because the first group of people you interviewed, they're doing something else already, right? So you need to have some urgency, but you also want some volume, right? The more candidates you have, it reduces the risk of a bad hire. So like my whole theory is let's reduce the risk of a bad hire, right? So yeah. So our pipeline is we connect with them, LinkedIn, they reply, initial call, and then the second part is we evaluate them, right? Then we do the first interview. We kind of same thing as our inbound. We record the calls, we analyze it with AI, and then the second part is we created a test, a quantitative test for at least district managers to take. It's like a 20-minute like quantitative test, like how you manage this, basic P&L questions, and one of the triggers we added in there was cheating. So we're filtering out people who are unethical or immoral, which we cut out right away. We don't tell them there's a filter in there. It's just if we see any like copy and pasting, we see any like tab switching and stuff like that, we know, okay, these aren't the people we want on our team. And there was like 3 of them that we kind of filtered out with this method. Right. And in person, and we kind of make them meet us during rush hours. Like Dallas DFW is a little big, so it'll take like an hour to get from where they're at to the next location. And then the second interview, we make them go to another location, which is another hour away, right? So once you create enough interest, then you could have them kind of qualify.
Chase you around a little bit.
And it gives you a sense of how serious they are or like what type of manager they are. If they're not willing to drive an hour for a job, they're not going to drive an hour to extinguish the fire in your restaurant. So it's like in real life simulation, like what's their character like? So yeah, then we offer, negotiate, and then we onboard them. Position.
What are some questions you like to ask to gauge whether or not this is a good manager?
That's a good question. I forget. I forgot. How would I ask? Basically,
I told Alex to, because he asked me the same question. I told him to take the recordings of your interviews that you shared on the Saturday calls, download the transcript, upload it into AI, and then ask questions.
That's the best way. It really depends. It's investigating as well. It's hard to know what the right question to ask unless you've been like a manager of like 20 or the goal you're trying to get to, or you interview more people. Then you know the right questions to ask. Because the first few people I interviewed, I didn't know the right questions. I was like, what am I even supposed to ask? And then I hear more what other people say. And then let's say this person says, manage 5 locations. The biggest thing is, I have meetings with my managers and we go over these KPIs. And then for the next interview, then I'll ask, okay, what kind of KPIs do you use when you have meetings with your managers? If they don't have an answer, they haven't done it, or they don't have a good answer. No. So a big part of knowing the right questions to ask is you have to talk to more people. Yeah. So yeah, everything, what we try to build is like the grading system is big for us. because we're trying to make it as objective as possible, right? And try to make it consistent. Like I'm not always going to be hiring for district managers or managers or regionals, right? So as we do, we like to document as we do it, because as we document as we do it, we could create a system around it in the future. Yeah. So to recap, I think hiring well is mostly just not hiring badly. You know, every interview is kind of, you're investigating. And for inbound, you know, we like to filter hard and early, and we apply them every time. So what I did to create this presentation is I downloaded all my transcripts, all my interviews, tell it to look at my whole database. And this is what we do. So I didn't even read this. So I'm reading this out loud. So outbound is you sell first, and you filter who hasn't bought in yet, right? Or who isn't good. And then qualifying cold candidates, hardest. Yeah, repeat it, and then you track outcomes, like grade them. You want to have an outcome or a goal where you're improving towards. So you kind of have to see, okay, for us is how do we bring on a high performing team members as cheaply as possible, and as quickly as possible too.
What's your current cost to acquire?
Cost to acquire inbound, about like 350, 450.
Mm-hmm.
And the cost is going up, frankly. And with that information, we can say, okay, it costs 350, 450 to hire a good person. We can start a referral program. If you bring on someone on the team, we'll give you 250. But then they have to go through the whole grading system. And that becomes a fixed cost rather than a variable cost. Cool. That's pretty much it.
Appreciate it. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Questions?
I know David has some questions. That's it. He's gone. I just scared him away.
Wesley, at what point did you need to build a team, like a hiring team? You needed to build out these AI systems. Yeah.
The hiring team was in our second location going to third. So we already hired the crew for the second team already, and we're growing to our third location. So we brought on our first hire there.
Okay. Is that exclusive to you?
Yep.
That team. Okay. So are they on a salary or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're constantly hiring throughout the whole week. Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Mm-hmm.
So they do onboarding too. So not just hiring. So onboarding. What else they do? Good question.
Onboarding in what way? Like training as well?
So not training. So onboarding. So like stuff like we do like an onboarding call with them, make sure they're in our systems, stuff like that, like payroll systems, scheduling systems, on all our Telegram chats, sending out offers, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. And are you constantly looking for better options as well, or when you have let's just say you said your budget for like one ad campaign is 400.
Mm-hmm.
That's normally a week, because I know for me, right? on Indeed, I spend $32 a day.
Mhm.
And at the week that maxes out at, I think in 5 days that maxes out at 360.
Mhm.
Let's just say I found someone during that period, that 5-day period.
I manage that. You turn it off. I turn it off.
Oh, you turn it off. Okay, so you don't keep it running, looking for maybe a better option. You
Mhm.
lock in with an employee. Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Alex, where are you currently at with your hiring situation?
My hiring situation. So I did think 9 interviews so far. And the quality I was getting was really like below average.
Indeed for hiring managers aren't great. Isn't great
Okay.
at all. Yeah. So that's my experience as well. We tried that, I think, and they're all piss poor.
Yeah.
That's why we decided to go with LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Hey, okay.
I'm not sure if like general managers are on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You can try. There are some for sure.
Yeah, but then I'll have to sell them on why we're a better fit than wherever they're working, right?
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with that, but just that's the game, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
So for managers, the outreach,
Yeah.
the outbound is the way to go, Wesley?
I would say so if you're not getting any good candidates on Indeed, and depending on how much. I mean, there were some managers looking for a role that we interviewed as well, but they were looking for like a district role, and they've been general managers, but they weren't poor quality, if that makes sense. But some of the Indeed people, from what I remember, I tried to do it for the second location. They're pretty bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What does Alex do for?
Alex has his top team take care of everything for him.
Shouldn't we just do that then? Can't we just get a hiring agency and they do all the dirty work?
Yeah, you can. I think they take like a percent. They take the first month's salary.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got you.
So if it's like what, 90K, they'll take
Yeah.
8K off the top.
Yeah. Okay. But if you have money to blow, but then what are they doing to find their candidates?
Probably same thing I'm doing.
Oh yeah, they're just
Mhm.
doing mass,
Mhm.
blasting it.
Wesley, what would you say a good turnover rate would be?
In terms of the team,
Yeah.
that's a good question. Depends. I would potentially like a turnover rate of less than 30%.
And what's your approach to hiring? Like, are you always hiring or only when there's open positions?
We like to hire when there's open positions. And we like to allocate the budget to the growing ones. So it goes back to the supply and demand thing, right? New locations, the demand outpaces the supply more. So we focus on those locations and allocate budget there. So supply can meet demand because that'll grow revenue faster than focusing on a location that's more seasoned, which is like what, probably a 12-14% year-over-year growth versus new locations for us is like 12% month-over-month growth, or week-over-week.
I see. And what does it generally cost you to train somebody?
That's a good question. That's one of the metrics we try to optimize as well. Initially, it'll probably cost us like 3 weeks. It'll take them 3 weeks to be proficient in like our systems, and that's why we like simplified it. Now we have like our own KDS, our own timer system in our kitchens, and it cuts that training time down to like 5 shifts, and they'll be proficient. Right. So that'll cut down the time from like 3 weeks into like 1 week.
For those 5 shifts, is it
the cost of two people because one person is training them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, we thought about the training cost as well. So that's why our apps, like, you don't have to train them on how long to cook steak because the timer tells you when to flip over the steak.
Right.
So the trainer's capacity is higher. So one trainer back then needs to focus on one person. Now they can focus on three because all you do is like teach them how to click the timer, unless they're like brain dead. Unless they're brain dead, clicking a timer isn't that hard, you know?
Right. But do you feel like for practices like that, some of it is self-explanatory. Like, do you really need the full 5 shifts to really train on everything you do?
No, probably, but to be proficient, not just like, okay, this is how you do it. It's proficient at it, if that makes sense, without someone overseeing them.
Are they put into a specialist role like during training or like, so they're actually hands-on while training?
Right. So they're doing the work when they're training.
So they're taking the role of the person that you'd be kind of scheduling, right? Oh, okay. And that would happen from day 1, day 2?
Day 1. So for new hires, we treat them as like, if we need 4 people on shift, we treat them like a half a person, if that makes sense.
That's interesting. So then what's the cost if hypothetically you'd be paying somebody for that shift, right? So why would it be an added cost? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because of the 0.5
Got it.
person where they're not 100% productive, right? So it'll take them like 10 minutes to do an order instead of like 5 minutes, if that makes sense.
Right. I get it. I mean, look, you've probably been able to simplify your training to a point where, you can just kind of plug them right in, right?
Yeah, that's what they're telling me at least.
Yeah. It's tough. We have certain positions in the restaurant that require more of like, you can't just kind of throw them in. And then there's other positions where you sort of can do that.
What
But-
positions can you throw them in?
So like you can throw them into a prep position more or less. Like I'll show you how to prep XYZ and in 2 minutes you can like see how to do it. Even for that matter, server, like once you learn how to use Toast, like study the menu a bit, and it's like it's not the hardest thing in the world. But like when it comes to rolling, may it be hand rolls or cut rolls, that process requires time and practice. And because of our concept, we try not to rely on experienced chefs, and we want to be able to train anybody how to do what we do. That's the part that kind of needs more time.
What part of the role is hardest to kind of train on?
Yeah, I mean, there's if you've never done it before, then everything needs a little time. So like you put the rice in first, which is not it. Well, so hand rolls are,
Is there like a little cylinder tool that they could kind of start it off with instead of their hands?
No, because I feel like that would give them a crutch that they wouldn't have. And the hand rolls are pretty, they're easier than cut rolls. Like cut rolls for takeout is the harder part.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe like to speed up that training time, you might have to hire seasoned like sushi chefs, and that's kind of the balance, right? It's like, do you hire for someone like that, or do you hire someone with no experience and incur the training time costs?
Well, also keep in mind, our people that's been working there for a while are already experienced, so it's we've taken the time to train them. So somebody at each location is capable of training. It's just a process that requires time.
Yeah. So training costs, as in like, I'm talking about like when they're not productive, the trainee, if that makes sense. Because that's kind of how we
right.
adjust our rubric as well. We do require they get positive scores if they've worked at Chipotle and Kava or Sweet Green, where it's like
Yeah.
a quick service, right?
Well-
But then skill transferable, if that makes
Like-
sense.
Like our thing is specifically with back of house is if you come in for an interview, we'll do the interview, but the real test is we'll take you into the kitchen, we'll pull out a bunch of scallion, and we'll see how you hold the knife. If you look like you've never held a knife before, which we can tell right away, we'll just cut it right there and say it's not for you. If you look like you have some form of knife skills, which again you can really see that right away, then we know you're good.
Yeah, and
Then we could train you.
that's actually, yeah, that's good. Some people do like, what is it called, stages, stuff like that. That can help with the grading as well. So the goal is really to reduce the cost of a new employee. And there's like a lot of costs that go into it, which you kind of named, like training costs, inexperience costs, or like even the wrong cost of wrong hire,
Totally.
I've got a question.
Mhm.
This is more specific to my situation. When you first needed an M1 or M2, did you already have systems built out in the business, or did you bring them in and they developed it according to their own experience?
For the M1 role, we had M1 systems, basic systems, but we kind of changed them over time. Like I mentioned, the apps we built and everything, those were probably like 6-7 months ago.
Okay. But that's something that you developed yourself?
Right. But
Okay.
this in terms of what we're doing for our district manager systems, like I mentioned, we give them like an AI assistant, and we make them like use it and ask questions. And we're going to use those questions to develop the system and framework to how a district manager would build out their cadence in terms of management.
Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the question Alex is trying to ask is, did you build out all the SOPs, or did you have the M1 build out the SOPs when you hired him, like the opening and closing checklist, how to create all your dishes?
So those we had.
You had them in place.
You're okay. And then you just added the M1 on top of that, and they got to run it.
Right.
Okay. Then when Alex says, sorry, Leon, is that the same for you as well?
Yeah, it's a good question. Right now, so we have SOPs, right? But now whenever a new manager comes in, they may want to change things around, or they may want to, improve it, which we'll encourage them to do. So oftentimes it changes and evolves,
So it's never a set, okay, this is the foundation, how we want to run things. Is it more whenever you hire a manager, they get to customize?
Well, with your approval, right? So like whatever foundation you have, you give them, and then we like to encourage them to evolve, this whatever it is that we have, and if it's better, we'll just approve it and make that the new standard,
And is that the same across all the stores? Because I know you got different managers managing each store.
Yeah, it is. It
would be different then. Right.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are certain things that need to be exact. Like we're not going to change the time it takes to make a hand roll or the ingredients used and these type of things. But like other processes, like can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but or just like formatting, right? Like one manager may not like the way an SOP looks, and they may want to format it differently. Just more like we like to give the freedom for them to be creative. And again, if it doesn't fit what we do, then we won't approve it. But if it's good, then yeah.
For us, when we're initially start with a couple locations, we had this thing we kind of stole from Mark Zuckerberg, like the best ideas win.
Yep.
Right. So it doesn't matter if it comes from me or the original system or the new people or new manager, as long as it makes sense and it yields a better result, we implement it.
Okay. So for joints like McDonald's, KFC, so do you guys have a KFC in America?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you got, okay. Their systems
Kentucky
always
It started and it's Kentucky.
yeah. Their systems stay the same though, right?
Because
Across every single store.
it's probably because no one came up with better ideas, because
Right.
been through so many iterations.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, at some point you have to imagine that it's going to evolve so much that it becomes very hard to improve it, you know.
Okay. So in my case, because the advice I got from Alex was I need a surgeon to come in and take care of all the SOPs, management, the way he wants to do it, so I can focus on higher leverage activities, right?
Well, yeah, I would say that in a perfect world, if you find that, then great, right? But chances are you'll probably have to stay hands-on for a while.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different strategy, if that makes sense, because there are going to be people who would be able to build out the systems for you and manage. They're just going to cost a little more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. And then it becomes what your end goal is. If your end goal is to, let's say, do 10 locations in a year or 2 years, would you be able to achieve it if you were creating the systems?
Right. So it just depends on how fast you want to get things done, hey? Or if there's a genuine universal framework in which you go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, I wouldn't want to reinvent the wheel.
I think Alex is very good at getting you to scale fast, and to scale fast, you'll need someone to build out the systems, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Right. So what stops you from doing that? What stops you from just hiring someone and letting them, customize everything? You prove it,
right? Because I met Alex a year ago, and I built all the systems already.
So if you would have met Alex sooner, you think you would have went down the path of?
That's what I'm doing now for the district. That's why I brought it up, right?
Gotcha.
Because I don't know the district systems, and I'm not trying to figure it out. And that's why he's the person to figure it out. So I'm doing the same thing that you're trying to do, just with a couple more locations. In a different system, right?
Got you.
So I do feel like from doing it, it is better to leverage someone else's experience.
Right.
Because they learn a lot faster. Or they not learn, they know how to do it faster, right? Because if you do it, you're still going to have to trial and error. Oh, this system is actually worse. This cooking method is actually not as good as the other cooking method. And then you have to revert back, and then you test something else. Theoretically, they've done that, right? If you have someone with 20 years experience, they know they've learned the right way to communicate with team members. And you don't have to build a step-by-step, hey, let's sandwich method it. Say nice thing, say mean thing, say nice thing, blah, blah, blah. That's a system, right? But that's a system they created in their head already through experience.
Right. So then this entire game, would you say, is pay to win?
What do you mean?
Like the same way, because instead of us just learning everything ourselves and wasting 5 years learning when someone's already done that.
I think so. I think it at a certain level it becomes allocating your capital for the right resources.
Right.
Well, you're here as well, right, Alex? You mean you pay to be here?
Yeah,
right.
You're able to sit in a room and ask these types of questions instead of trying to figure it out on your own.
Yep.
So in a way, it is. I think it also, to your question, I think it also depends on you have to know yourself as a person. You have to understand if you're capable of, I mean, maybe you are capable if you sit and force yourself, but maybe it's not to your nature, right? Wesley, his strengths and weaknesses are different from yours. Liron's strengths and weaknesses are different from yours. So I think you have to understand yourself and then understand based off of that which approach you want to take, whether it's building everything out yourself, hiring someone with more experience to build it out for you. I think knowing, like seeing the way that you operate kind of from Alex's lens, right? He's taught me to see people kind of through his lens. I think I agree with Wesley. It does make more sense to bring someone with a little bit more experience. Build things because you're a little bit more offensive than defensive, right? You have to like kind of be out there speaking, making relationships and looking for the second, third, fourth location, you know, more
Also-
sales and marketing. Yeah.
Also, I'll add to that too, is like, you know, regardless if you know how to do it yourself or you don't, when you have someone else doing it, they're likely going to do things that you're not to say that you're not going to do it, but like when telling somebody what to do is different than actually having to do it. And the efficiency is much better when you can just say this, and that, you know?
Absolutely. Because like you have no boss. There's no one who's managing you. So it's like you don't have anyone pushing you to do it quicker, you know? But when you're telling someone else what to do, they do have a boss, which is you.
Hey, we all sound like Alex now.
Okay, so why don't I just do what Alex did and get a recruitment agency, hire let them struggle with all the hiring processes and doing all of that, and then
if you got the money,
what's stopping any of us from doing if
you got the money and you got the capital, why not? That's why people raise a bunch of money.
Right.
People raise money because they don't have the not gonna say you don't have the capabilities. They didn't build the capabilities to do it efficiently, right? So some companies like Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber, one of the main things he was very big on is he and his team built the capability of raising money really, really fast and didn't need investment bankers. And he built a whole system to to fundraise like hundreds of millions of dollars in days, right? That's a capability, right? So they focus on that. So they can buy the systems. That's why people acquire companies, because they built the capabilities, right? It's either you have to be good at something, right? So it seems like you built the product that sells good food at a good margin. So you can use that margin to invest in a recruiting agency, or you could use that money to invest in a new location, but you have limited resources. And I believe your job as a CEO is to decide where to put the resources to invest in and where to build, because you don't have enough resources to buy the capabilities.
Yeah, no, and I also want to add to that, and put it this way: if like private equity were ever to come in and take any interest in your company, they'd want to know that nothing really relies on you, right? That like there's systems that work without you. So,
so like, because this is themed around hiring workshop, what's stopping you guys from doing what Alex is doing?
What do you mean?
So if we know Alex, this has worked for Alex, he just goes straight to the guys who were professionals at it.
I'm sure Alex, at least for Sushi Master, had a recruit. If you go back to the old videos, they had a recruiting team to recruit people, kind of like what we did now. But for Alex right now, I believe his personal hires, he has a recruiter that he pays. It's the same money, right? It's how much you want to pay. If you want to pay recruiters, if you want to pay top tier headhunters, you're paying a lot of money, right?
Or AI tokens.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Also take into account Alex came into an existing sort of situation. I think they had like 6 or 7 locations. So, you know, they had a bunch of systems already set up. But my point is that in the early going, a lot of times it's hard to afford that, right? Because it's costly to do that.
Yeah, you can get an agency, understand what they do, understand their process, and then build something in-house. That's always an option as well.
I can tell you that when I started my restaurant, my first location, I didn't have the budget to do anything, and I was doing everything myself, which I had no choice. Now, looking back at it now, I would do everything possible to you know, create the resources, raise money, do whatever, because then that would have accelerated my success, I think, by a lot. But in the time, I, you know, yeah.
What would you do differently, Liron, if you can go back?
You know, that's a great question. First and foremost, I think that
Put more
if I
money
could-
on the Knicks.
I think I did pretty good with that. Yeah, I don't know if
Are you a Knicks
well,
fan, Elon?
Yeah.
You're a Knicks fan?
Well, Nets fan, but
Nets fan.
now I have to be a Knicks fan.
how do you even become a Nets fan? I don't know.
I started playing basketball the year they moved to Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Wesley, I don't know.
Fair.
I don't know if
That's fair.
Elon told you. I put $150 on one bet in February where the Knicks will beat the San Antonio Spurs in the finals.
No,
I bet
you
100
did not.
Swear to God, I'll show you the receipt.
What's the spread on
$150
that?
plus 9,000. I win 14,000 on that
What?
if the Knicks beat them.
That's bullshit.
Swear to God. I'll share. I took 2 bets. One was for the Knicks and Spurs to meet in the finals, 300 to win 10,000, and the other one was the one I just told you. So those are the only ones I
Damn.
bet all year. But to your point, yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. But to your point, Elon, what would I do different? I would, knowing what I know now, I was doing too much on my own. And I know I'm saying that I really didn't have the budget, but I think I could have let go of more, and I'd be better off, right? Like hiring managers and sort of where Alex, like kind of what you're in the process of doing now, and like stepping away quicker. And I would do that as quickly as possible so that I could focus on more important things. But in the early going, I literally spent too much time sort of managing myself and doing, you know, stuff that I could have, you know, done different, you know, just wasting time on stuff that I should not have wasted time on.
You think sometimes you have to like let the small fires burn?
Yeah, sometimes I say you gotta, you know, take a step back to take 2 steps forward. Like right now, I hired an M1, I hired an M2, and he's not doing anywhere near the type of, you know, the job that I would do. I'm seeing fires that are not being put out, where if I were doing it, it would be put out. But I know it's the right thing for the long run, because once it's set up where he understands how to put out fires properly, that's going to be the biggest unlock for my success, and being able to scale quicker.
Cool. That's pretty much all I have.
I appreciate it, Wesley. Guys, by the way, Liron is going to do a workshop next week as well. Yeah, Thursday. Liron, you're muted.
Sorry, yeah, Elon, I just want to get my ducks in order. Maybe not this Thursday, maybe the following
Okay.
one. Make
Okay.
sure that, you know, give you guys the real scoop on
All
things,
right.
not just how to win
Sounds good.
bets. All right.
You got to teach me that one though. That's a crazy bet. That's a crazy leg.
It's probably a once in a
So
lifetime
we should
thing.
do the Thursday after next, and then yeah, I'll just drop a message inside the Telegram group chat once me and Liron confirm.
Yep.
I like these. These are cool. Aside from just the Saturday calls, like get together, talk about some specific topics. It's nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Perfect.
Thanks, Wesley.
Anyone else have anything to add? Maybe some of the guys that were listening in throughout the call. I know Alvin is still in here. Robert just recently came in. Anything from you guys?
No, I'm good right now. Thank you.
Perfect. Was it helpful?
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you, Wesley.
Yep, of course. All right.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, Wesley.
Yep.